Hey everyone, and welcome to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the page, be sure to give us a like and a sub, and today we're going to be jumping into Red Knight, issue number 3, published by Manos Publishing. If you haven't checked out issue number 1, I'll leave a link so you guys can check that out, and without further ado, let's dive into this issue. So diving into this issue, we pick up with Red Knight at his bar, and he's going over the daily newspaper, and it's talking about Red Knight in it. And he's really excited about this, you know, he's a new hero. He's really learning the ropes about everything, and so, you know, this is his first public appearance, and he's really excited about it. As he's going over this with his uncle, a cop is waiting for him at the end of the bar. Not just any cop, the cop that fought with Red Knight against Overkill. And you really get the sense that she already knows that he's the Red Knight. And she's really there just to let him know that there's more to take care of in this city, but she's going to try to arrest the Red Knight tonight. And she mentions the Norfolk 13. And she mentioned this before in previous comics. It's essentially kids that were kidnapped or disappeared, and they're said to have experiments ran on them to essentially give them superpowers. And so the officer takes her leave as Todd McClane finishes up at the bar, and we pick up with our police officer in what seems to be like a shady rundown warehouse. And unbeknown to her, both Purge and Overkill are here waiting for her. And really, she's getting thrown around. Like, she's trying to hold her own against these guys, but obviously there's no match for her. And as we see the officer fall to the ground after taking a hit from Purge, this is where we see Red Knight show up with his fancy gun that his uncle made him. And he shoots it and he sticks Overkill to the ground. And this is when him and Purge go at it and they start attacking each other. And we're really seeing the extent of Red Knight's abilities. We're seeing what he can do, what he's capable of. And he takes out Purge with one punch. So it just shows the capability that he does have. Now, Overkill's a little bit of a different story because his powers are really close to the same. And these guys are seemingly beaten. Purge makes a getaway to try to get outside and call a helicopter to get out. But Overkill is more egotistical, and so he's staying to try to fight these guys. Overkill, realizing that he's probably going to be outmatched and everybody hauling for him to get on the helicopter, he tries to make his escape. But this is where we see Red Knight leap out and grab onto Overkill. In doing so, Purge essentially takes all of the power out of the helicopter to be able to repel Red Knight from being able to get onto the helicopter. In doing so, the helicopter loses all controls and falls to the ground and crashes into a building. And it's not just any building that it falls into, it lands on Dr. Banks' old laboratory. The doctor from the Norfolk 13. And out of the rubble, we see Overkill arise. But before he's able to do any damage, he takes a blunt hit to the chest. And this is where we see Nathan show up. And at the same time, Martha passes out. And so we pick up in Nathan and Red Knight, and they're in an underground bunker. And this is where we see our police officer go into detail about how she knows Ben Lee and Wendy Harper are also part of the legal experiments known as the Norfolk 13, and she's pretty sure that Red Knight is one of them as well. And so this is where we really get some backstory onto how he got his powers, where this all started, where it all began. And so Red Knight goes into detail about how when he was younger and more of a kid, a lot of people were getting kidnapped, especially kids. And two of his friends, Ben and Wendy, had both been kidnapped. And so him, thinking he's some kind of Captain Danger, grabs a taser and goes and waits at the park for these would-be kidnappers to kidnap him, essentially. Obviously unable to repel these guys off, he's kidnapped as well, and he's thrown in shackles with Ben and Wendy. And they're injected with needle day after day after day, until one day he got strong. And not just strong, but ridiculously strong. And they had some kind of power cuffs on them, but he's not sure if they didn't understand that he was going to be able to break out because of the powers he got, or if it was just a miscalculation on their part. But regardless, they were able to break out, and he breaks Ben and Wendy out, and they made their escape. And instead of covering up who they are, Red Knight suggested that they all became superheroes. And our cop goes in to tell, you know, Red Knight that he has no crime fighting skills. He has super strength, but no fighting technique. He has good instincts, but he's careless, he's sloppy. He doesn't have the know-how on how to do this right. And so she offers up an opportunity for him. She wants to partner up with him, but not just any partnership, a secret partnership, because you gotta remember, it's illegal to be a superhero right now without a sponsorship. So they're gonna try to keep this on the down low, but she admits the city needs his help. and he asks what have Ben and Wendy, and currently they're in police custody, and they're sitting around waiting, not understanding, like they were given their suits back and all kinds of things, but they were still being told to wait here at the police station. And then enters a man with our police officer, and the man is Matthew Grace, Secretary of Superhuman Affairs. And what he does is offers them essentially a sponsorship. He allows them onto the roster of superheroes. And of course they're ecstatic, they're happy about it, they're ready to get in and start digging in and doing superhero stuff. And then we pick up with our big bad, Mr. and Mrs. Sinclair. And he's really trying to cover up everything that's happened, trying to cover their tracks. He's talking to the Dr. Banks that we had mentioned previously, and he's just trying to make sure that the lab is all covered up. They don't want anything leaking out. And as he goes to get into his car, a man with a hood walks up to him and shoots him in the chest, essentially what seems to be killing the man dead. And then we see our two heroes, Ben and Wendy, getting induced into this superhero league, essentially. And while you may think that Red Knight was going to be envious or jealous of the situation, he's actually super ecstatic, and he's super happy and ready to see his friends fulfill the dream that he had with them. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe to the page if you haven't yet. And until the next video.